Welcome to that is History and Government lesson. It is in Form 2 today, and we're going to deal with lesson 7. I am your teacher, Mr. John N. Gatuma. Welcome. In our previous lesson, we have been looking at the trade, that is the third type of trade, international trade. And in international trade, we have been looking at transatlantic trade, which we also say is known as the triangular trade. We say that this trade, as the name suggests, triangular trade, is the trade that occupied, or rather took three continents, involved three continents, that is Africa, Europe, and America, the New Land. And the question that I give you is question 1: why was the international trade referred to as triangular trade? Why do you think international trade also referred to as triangular trade? As the name triangular comes from the word triangle, and triangle comes from the word tri. Tri means three. Therefore, this is the trade that involved three main continents as their roots. There was a roots that are going all the way from Europe to Africa, from Africa to New Land, that is in America. So these three continents are involved in this trade, and therefore the trade is known as triangular trade. Question 2: what was the main trade item? What was the main trade item in transatlantic trade? What was the main trade item in transatlantic trade? The main trade item in transatlantic trade is also the slaves. Slaves were the main trade item in transatlantic trade, and therefore this trade is known as the slave triangle or slave trade. In today's lesson, we shall continue with trade, and the subtopic that we're going to deal with is known as the organization of trade. What was the organization of international trade? What was the organization of international trade? So, organization of the trade took the form of triangle. That's why we call it the triangular trade. And this trade was organized from the trading activities of the Portuguese and the Spaniards in the 15th century, that is in AD. And they wanted to explore the world and extend the geographical knowledge, spread of Christianity, and revenge on the Muslims who had occupied almost part of the other countries for a period of about 800 years. So the Muslims controlled the land routes and reaches to India. So the China and also the Spice Island, that is in Morocco. And they thus effectively kept out the Europeans from the lucrative trade, and therefore they engaged in this trade. So Europeans, particularly the Portuguese, they are the one who wished to participate in this trade, but they were hindered by the vast sea. So to achieve these ambitions, they had to overcome this problem by starting up navigation. And therefore they started up the navigation, and this navigation, this was led by a person that is very, very much important, that is known as the Prince Henry the Navigator, and his son that was known as the King John of Portugal, the King John First of Portugal. And they gave the interest in the exploration, and they spent their time in studying old maps and also talking to sailors and encouraging his inventors to improve the existing compasses and other navigation aids. So they invented what we call the caravels or the square-rigged ship. It is known as the ship for navigation. The Portuguese invented the ship for the navigation. It is known as a square-rigged ship, and this encouraged the Portuguese sailors to venture further in the sea. And now, from Europe, that is the continent, Europe, we have Portuguese. They moved through the navigation power. They moved to the New Land, that is in North America, and they discovered this region. And therefore, in America, there was a very good environment for plantation of crops such as sugar, tobacco, and cotton. And therefore, the Europeans, they came and colonized this region. So the plantation owners, they required some slaves, but unfortunately, the West Indies, they were not willing. They were unwilling to offer this labor. Therefore, this labor, they only be acquired by getting the slaves from Africa. Because in Africa, there was a belief that in Africa, there were some slaves who were very strong. Therefore, these slaves were required in this region for plantation. So therefore, Africans who were captured were part of the trade system known as the trade triangle. This we shall explain this when we continue with this lesson. So we look at the organization of this trade. The organization of this trade, we have said, is known as the triangular trade or rather triangle trade. Is a historical term that indicates the trade among the three ports of three regions. So the triangular trade usually evolves when a region has export commodities that are not required in the region from which its main imports come. Triangular trade thus provides a method of rectifying trade imbalance between above region that we have mentioned. Between this region, they are the one which rectify or fight this problem of imbalance between the regions. So, the particular routes that were historically also shaped by the powerful influence of wheat and also the currents during the age of sail. Remember, we have talked of the Portuguese sailors. They were given the government financial support by the Prince Henry the Navigator. The Prince Henry the Navigator was the son of King John of Portugal, and they gave them the moral support. They also gave them the financial support to come up or to make the exploration machines, that is the navigational machines or navigational aids. And they were able to study the existing compasses and also study the geographical area of this region. So as the Atlantic slave trade, we have said, is also known as the Atlantic slave trade. This slave trade, the main commodity of the trade was known as the Atlantic slaves. And Atlantic slaves, we have said, it took the shape of three routes, and this is where we have the routes all the way from Europe to Africa. Then from Africa to West Indies. So this region in West Indies, that is in America, the new land, there was the plantation to grow the raw materials, and these raw materials were needed by the industries in Europe. The industries in Europe, they are the one who converted the raw materials into finished products, and therefore these finished products, they could be brought they could be taken to Africa, where there were the ready markets, or rather the people they were ready to buy these products. So they were exchanging the manufactured product with the slaves, and the slaves they were taken to the plantation owners, that is in USA, that is in America. So this trade occurred in three routes. So there were over three trade routes we have said, which formed a triangle. These trade routes formed a triangle, hence the name triangular trade. And these were Europe to West Africa, that is in West Africa, and Americas to Europe. So you can see there are three continents that are involved, and therefore bearing the name triangle, because there are three continents that were involved. So the trade involved European traders. So the people who are involved, or the traders involved in this trade, it involved European traders or merchants, African middlemen, the Africans who are like the middlemen, and American plantation owners. So the three main traders, they actively took place in this trade. That means when the goods or the manufactured goods have come to Africa, the Africa acted as a middleman, the person who stands in between the seller and the buyer. And therefore, the African being the middleman, they are the one who could connect to the plantation owners in America. In America, they could receive the slaves who acted as the us say that this trade involved slaves and therefore bearing the name slave triangle. So the slave being among one of the main commodity, they actually made this trade to occur because they were much available in Africa, especially in West Africa. They were much available, and therefore all slaves from Africa they were taken through the middle stage that we shall see, the middle passage. We shall discuss this in this lesson. But before we discuss, it's good you know this fact. It is a fact that 2 million slaves died on the ship, and number two, you can note that travel routes was long and it took 1 to 6 months on the sea. Remember, this was a vast sea, and therefore it required navigational aids that were in advance as far as the technology is concerned. And because of the help of Prince Henry the Navigator, this was possible. So that it took 1 to 6 months. So there is a map of the Middle Passage. We shall see the map of the Middle Passage. There was a way in which they followed. And another fact that you need to note that this trade started in the year 1518, that is the 15th century, when there was trading activities of Portuguese and Spaniards. It's good you note that. So because the slave was the main commodities in this trade in America, they were heavily demanded in this region. So you can see the red mark. This shows the Middle Passage route, the map of the Middle Passage. And this was the route in which slaves from West Africa, they were shipped using the slave ship to Caribbean islands, that is in America, where they could be received by the plantation owners. In Africa, the slaves were captured. They were captured by the slave dealers. The slave dealers, they could use various methods to capture these slaves. Once upon being captured in Africa, the slaves, they could be tied and therefore taken to the ports. These ports, they were received by either the Europeans or the slave dealers. And therefore, they could be packed, they could be well packed in a ship, the slave ship, so that they can be shipped in the new land. The slaves, now upon arrival in the ports, whereby they were received by the slave dealers. And the England, notably the England, they are the one, and France, Holland, they are the one who joined this lucrative trade. And therefore, the cheap Europeans merchandise was exchanged for slaves from West African countries. And the slave was sold in America to work in plantation in West Indies or for American mainland, whereby there was a production or growing of crops such as sugar, cotton, and tobacco. So upon arrival in this region, the European traders, they obtained goods which were then exported to Europe. Thus began the triangular trade. So this trade involves the slaves, and therefore the slaves, they were taken by the middlemen, that is the Africa. Let us have a look at the slave ship. The slave ship, this is how it was looking like. And you can see the slaves, upon being captured, they are now packed well in such a way that there is not even more space. There were about millions and millions of these slaves, and upon being packed in a congested area, they were shipped directly to America, the Caribbean. Let us see the dimension or the picture of the slave ship. This was a picture of the slave ship, or dimension of the slave ship. The slave ship had a foot of 4 inches of space, and women and children, they were granted a slightly less room. The room for the women and children, they were slightly less. That is 4 inches space. By those measurements, the groups were able to carry up to 454 slaves. You have seen the book. The groups, they were these pieces whereby the ship could contain the slaves well packed. So the diagram engravers could only squeeze only 400. They could only squeeze 400 slaves. So this one had a dimension or how the slave ship looked like. Looking at the picture of the slave ship, this was the slave ship, and the slave ship, you will see how they were packed. This is how the slaves were packed. The groups containing these slaves are ready to move in the middle passage. The middle passage is a state where these slaves they could follow a certain route of the North Caribbean island that is in America. The slaves, upon now being packed, before being packed, this is how they were. They could now sit in the slave ship. Upon being captured, they could be chained. They could be tied in such a way no one could run away. The middle passage, this is how the slaves were packed, and there was no any space. You have seen a group contain 400 slaves. And why do you say the middle passage? What was the middle passage? The middle passage, the middle passage was the stage of the triangle trade in which millions of African Americans were shipped to the New World as slaves. That was known as the middle passage. It was a stage of the triangle trade or triangular trade in which millions of African Americans were shipped to the New Land or New World as slaves. And why was it called the Middle Passage? It was called the Middle Passage because of the African being transported across the Atlantic Ocean. So the vast water, or rather the vast ocean, that is Atlantic Ocean, there was a path in which the slave ship followed. The conditions of the Middle Passage was not conducive because many of the slaves died on the way to America, and therefore those who died, they were either thrown in the sea or most of them died on the way. Look at the presentation of how they were packed. Most of them died on the way because of hunger, because the condition in the Middle Passage was terrible. And one of the survivors has recorded this incident that most of these slaves died because the space there was no more breathing space. The ship was not ventilated, and therefore most of them died on the way. Presentation of the Middle Passage. Most of the slaves died. Therefore, because we have seen that the main commodity of this trade was slaves. How were these slaves acquired from Africa? Let us see or discuss the method in which the slaves were acquired. This was the method. One, they were exchanged for the Europeans' manufactured goods. Upon manufactured goods arriving in West Africa, the slave merchants, they could exchange the slaves with these goods from Europe. Two, another method, the prisoners of war, they were captured during the local war. They were sold to the slave dealers. The prisoners of war who were captured during the local war, a war arose between the communities. Those prisoners who were captured, they were sold as slaves to the slave dealers. Another method. The third method, the slaves were also obtained through kidnapping. The kidnapping of the children was another method. Another method was the local ruler. They sold their own subjects as slaves, as to the slave dealers. The local ruler, that is the king, the chiefs, they could sell their own subjects to the slave dealers to go to work in America as the chief labor. The traders and the chief organized the raids. There was a raiding method. This was organized by the chief or the traders, and then sold those who had been captured. So remember the traders and the chiefs, they used the manufactured goods from Europe. That is the gun. They could use the gun, and therefore at night they could go burn and loot. And those who are captured, those who could not run away, they were captured and sold to the slave dealers as slaves. Another method was the children were enticed with sweets, and then they were captured and sold to the slave dealers. African rulers at the time they also sold as social misfits and also the criminals into slavery. So the social misfits and criminals, such as the murderers, the thieves, and the sorcerers, they were regarded as the misfits and also the criminals. They were sold as slaves as the punishment. So this trade, the Britain, being the superpower, they controlled most of the American colonies, and about 20 million slaves had been shipped to America by the year 18th century. So in the year 18th century, at what this time, the slave trade was at peak, and therefore the number it is recorded as over about 20 million slaves. They had been directly shipped to America, and they were working as the slaves in the region. So we say that these slaves, looking at this picture, the map presenting the triangular slave trade, traders from West Africa, being the middlemen, they were the middlemen because they received goods from Britain, from Europe, and in exchange with the slaves from West Africa. And the slaves from West Africa, they were taken to the slave coast by the slave dealers, and therefore they were directly shipped to the Caribbean island, that is in America, and they were taken to places such as the Western Indies. This is a place where they were received by the plantation owners, and upon arrival at the plantation owners' place, that is the Caribbean island, they were used as the labor to produce the raw materials such as the sugar, cotton, and tobacco. And therefore, these as being the raw materials, others they were working in the mining areas and mining sites, and they produced the raw materials. The raw materials they were needed by the industries in Europe, because in Europe there was industrial revolution, and therefore Britain, being one of the superpowers, they were the first one to industrialize. So therefore, they controlled most of the American colonies. They are the ones who colonized this region, and therefore about 20 million slaves they had been shipped by the year 18th century. So from the main trade nations of Western Europe, it was much easier to sail westwards after first going through 30 latitude, that is 30 latitude towards the north, and reaching the so-called trade winds. The returning from North America, it is easiest to follow the Gulf Stream in the north easterly direction using the west lines. So a similar triangle to this is also called the Volta, the map, and was already being used by the Portuguese before the Christopher Columbus voyage to sail to the Canary Island and the Azores. Remember Christopher Columbus, being one of the European navigator or explorer, he was able to follow the compass, and therefore he reached the new land and discovered the new land, that is America. He gave the name America, and therefore he went back with an information that attracted other Europeans to come and colonize the new land. So Columbus simply expanded the triangle outwards, and his routes became the main way for the Europeans to reach and return from the Americas. Looking at the transaction process, we say the trades. The trade involves the three continents, and therefore there is how the transaction process occurred. The Europeans, they could manufacture raw materials, and these raw materials, they were taken to Africa. In Africa, the manufactured products, they were exchanged with the slaves. The slaves, as you can see in red, they were directly shipped in the new land. And in the new land, they could produce the raw materials, and the raw materials, they were needed by the industries in Europe. So, the process continued involving the three main continents. And therefore, in the 18th century, the transatlantic trade was established, and it was at the peak and started declining. So, let us see the trade items. There are various trade items that were involved, and these trade items we can demonstrate in this map. You see the color blue, you can see the color green and red, and therefore we have three continents, that is in Europe, England to be specific, and in Africa, that is West Africa, and the other continent that is in North America, the USA, where there was the plantation owners, and there was the Western Indies who were providing the labor. So we have manufactured products from England, that is Europe, in the red color, to Africa. So the first goods, the first trade items were the gun, coal, iron, beer, and many other coming all the way from Europe to West Africa. Two, we have West Africa. West Africa, in return, they gave out the slaves to North Africa, North America, that is Americas, and therefore they acted as a slave, or rather the forced laborers. Third, we have seen the blue color, the raw materials they were produced, and we have whale oil, we have the rubber, we have the fats, we have the rice, we have zinc, we have indigo, we have tobacco. All these were raw materials needed in Europe. Therefore, they were taken to Europe. These were the goods from North America. We have four types of trade items. We have sugar coming all the way from the Caribbean island, that is in America. In green, well represented in green, and therefore sugar, molasses, wood, slaves, sugar, and molasses, they all came from America, needed as raw materials to England, that is in Europe. This is the trade items that were involved in this trade. This has come to the end of our lesson today, and therefore I want to give you some simple assignment that you will try, so that in the next lesson we shall pick from here. You describe the organization of international trade. That is a 5-mark question. Explain this question, and in the next lesson we shall pick from here. So how can you contact us instead of in case of any question that you might be having? In case of any question, you can SMS, or you can post your question at our Facebook page, that is Elimu TV. And also you can follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle being Elimu TV _KE. So I'm glad that you are watching Elimu TV. This is your TV where we watch and learn. Stay tuned till